Howdy people, welcome to another edition of VGU Talks. I'm Dom the Expert at Coles here from VideoGamesUncovered.com, and it's time we had a nice sit-down conversation about something in the world of games. So as the title pretty much explains here, are MMOs just not good enough to today's standards? Well, my opinion is yes. I don't think they're standing up to the plate nearly as much as what we think they are. But of course, where is this coming from? Why am I bringing this up? Well, I'm mainly bringing this up because of the Elder Scrolls Online. A lot of people are talking about it, I know. I've seen many different reviews for it. Heck, I've done my review for it, which I'll also put in the description below, along with the other reviews or other people that have talked about it, so that you guys can know where I'm coming from with this talks. So what first happened was, when the game was out and when the reviews were starting to jet out, I watched a review from someone I've been subscribed to for absolutely ages, and I will probably be subscribed to him for a heck of a lot longer, Angry Joe on YouTube. He does a great series of reviews on his channel, as well as Let's Plays from time and again, and a good live streamer as well, so go check him out. As well as Joe's review of The Elder Scrolls Online, I also checked out what Boogie2988 on YouTube also had to say about it. The Elder Scrolls Online, when I played it, when I reviewed it, it just made me think, are MMOs really not trying to grab people's attention anymore, and they're just trying to be the most common of common games? It's bad. It's bad to say that MMOs are slowly turning into what Call of Duty turned into for FPSs. You get them on a regular basis, they don't do a lot to innovate or change things, they don't do a lot to really grab your attention, they rely heavily on the names, and they rely heavily on the genres. And that's where I think The Elder Scrolls Online and a lot of these MMOs that are coming out that I'm now skeptical of, I'm not really convinced with anymore. The Elder Scrolls Online had the name of The Elder Scrolls behind it, and that, in my opinion, was its biggest flaw. It was relying too much on the name of The Elder Scrolls for it to become legendary, like World of Warcraft. But you've got to remember this. Before World of Warcraft was even a thing, before it even existed, you had the Warcraft RTS series that built the story up. Then the MMO came out, but because it was such a revolution at the time, because MMOs were not that existent at that period of time, World of Warcraft took the world by storm. The Elder Scrolls Online is basically trying to do what WoW did all those years ago, but it's failing. Why is it failing? Because WoW is still a thing. World of Warcraft has lasted this many years for a reason, because it's evolved with the times. It's changed. It's brought the story along. Yes, it may have frustrated some people in some of the expansions. I don't blame them. But they're still alive. They're obviously doing something right. Blizzard are friggin' geniuses if you think about it. Because after everyone saying World of Warcraft should go free to play, it isn't. And I never think it will. Because Blizzard know how it works. And Blizzard understands what can make a good MMO a great MMO. ZeniMax don't have that understanding. Obviously, it's their first MMO, so we can't expect it to be an immediate legendary status game. But because it's relied so much on the Elder Scrolls name, and because the Elder Scrolls has that kind of a reputation behind it, we already have the expectations of thinking, well, The Elder Scrolls Online should be the best MMO of all time, because it has this legendary series carrying it. But that's bad. If you're relying on a series to carry your next title, that's bad. Your next title should stand alone from the series, but then when it's put together with the series, should make the franchise a heck of a lot more interesting. If anything, ESO is a blip on the franchise. It's that odd little game. And that's bad. And that's just ESO. We've got a couple of other games coming out. We have WildStar that's coming out. I've been in the beta of it. For what I played with WildStar, The art style and the cartoony feel of it, yeah, I can get behind that. I got behind that with other MMOs, so it's fine. But it doesn't feel anything. It doesn't feel different. One faction feels a heck of a lot more interesting than another faction. The classes are pretty darn well balanced, for the most part, until you find out that some classes are particularly quote-unquote useless until a certain level. Like, for example, if you're playing around as an engineer, you want to be able to build things. You want to be able to have mechs follow you, or be able to have something follow you to assist you in battle, or use completely outrageous mechanical devices to your usage straight off the get-go. No, you're gonna have to wait until you're about level 10. And did I notice that the leveling in WildStar and ESO to a certain extent is painful. With ESO it's slightly different because ESO is relying on the Skyrim way of doing things, where the more you use a skill and the more you go into it, the more it levels up. Which in all honesty is fine, and I liked that in ESO actually. In WildStar, leveling just feels tough. I would take out an entire horde of enemies, massive raids, huge bosses, and get nothing. No loot, no experience, no gratification. And the story is just painfully bland as well. So I'm worried. I'm worried for the new age of MMOs. I don't want them to be bad. When you have a game like World of Warcraft, or heck to another extent, a game like Final Fantasy A Realm Reborn, which I think did the right thing going back to the drawing board and starting all over again. Because that game has by far been the best restart project I have ever seen. I don't think it's going to get up there as high as World of Warcraft, don't get me wrong. But it's definitely, at least in my opinion, the second best subscription-based MMO out there right now. And if the new age MMOs, whether it be WildStar, ESO, or any of the other ones coming in the near future, whether they be subscription-based, one-off payment-based, or whether they be free-to-play based, they have to understand that they are going against the big man, World of Warcraft. And if they don't try to at least match what World of Warcraft is doing, I don't personally think they stand a chance. ESO is a perfect example of it. I just hope that the other MMOs of the future don't fall down the same hole. Cross my fingers for that. But ladies and gentlemen, those are my thoughts on the world of MMOs and how I think it is slowly going downhill. But I am very interested. What do you guys think of the world of MMOs? Do you think they're doing okay? Do you think it's going a little bit eh? Are you worried? Are you not so worried? What are your thoughts on the games I did cover, if you have played them already? And I'll be seeing you next time for another edition of VGU Talks.